Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Best Company Podcast. I'm Justin Ashby, and today we are talking to George Baseluos, coming from Alleviate Tax. We're very excited to be talking to him. Again, this is the Best Company Podcast where we talk to business owners and marketing professionals about building your reputation online as well as building your business. So, George, we're very happy to have you with us. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. George is the CEO of Alleviate Tax, which is a fascinating industry. So really excited to get into that and talk to him. He's a licensed and practicing attorney who created Alleviate Tax out of the frustrations he personally experienced dealing with the IRS. I myself have had issues. We'll get into that. A little surprised when I married my wife. I had some back taxes I had to take care of. We'll get into that. Incompetence and apathetic agents, absurd wait times, and stress. But it really defined his and the average taxpayer's experiences with the IRS. All those issues is kind of what everyone experiences for sure. So George knew there must be a better way, and Alleviate Tax was born from that out of a desire to help anyone struggling with taxes and the IRS to fix their problem quickly and affordably. So very excited to have this conversation and just how we can – what we've noticed on this podcast, George, is there's so many different professionals in so many different industries, and it's a concept where – I actually read in a book just recently that you train doctors to be doctors, and you miss out on like all these other professionals that can learn things that can apply. So I'm excited to be talking to you today because I think we can definitely get some cross, professionalism here and learn from different categories for everyone watching. So Real quick, I did mention, George, my issue with the IRS. So my wife and I, we'd been married only a few months, and just when you're in college, we got married in college in our 20s. And you just move around so much. So I claimed myself as a independent. My parents claimed me as an independent. I didn't submit the right amount of taxes. I moved around enough that my address changed. Anyways, they finally found me. I got a letter saying I had some back taxes. My wife's thinking she married like I'm doing tax evasion and all this stuff. No, I paid the back taxes. No big deal. But it was very funny for about 30 seconds when my wife's just looking at me like, who are you? Anyways, that's my story. So probably not as rough as other stories, but that's it.
It's not as rough, but it's very, very common. And there's so much stigma behind owing money to the IRS, and probably 95% of the time, it's a complete mistake. I would change that. I would say 99% of the time. There's so few cases where people are actively trying to hide tax liabilities. I mean, most of the time this stuff happens. It's just a lapse of judgment, memory. But the problem is what happens when you get that letter, which you experienced firsthand. Most people get really nervous, afraid, scared. First thing they do is they try to pick up the phone and they call the IRS. Good luck getting through.
Yeah, sure.
And so your experience actually mirrors the majority of Americans facing this exact problem, regardless of how big the balance is, 10,000 or 400,000. It's generally all the same.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, George, let's get into that a little bit because I think, the people that are coming to you, give us an idea of who your typical customer is. I mean, is it 10,000 to 400,000? Do you is the average kind of come out to 50,000? When do people start looking for some help with tax resolution, or kind of go off of QuickBooks and actually realize, oh man, I made some mistakes, I need some help? Who is your typical customer?
Mostly it starts when the customer starts getting letters from the IRS, and they're just unaware. They're like, where did this come from? And the balances we see, we don't have a true minimum because we're mostly a tax preparation firm. We file and prep all sorts of back taxes, current taxes. Resolution is only part of it. And so I would say generally it's $10,000 or more, but we see a lot of small business owners that have six-figure tax debts. So we kind of see it all across the spectrum. Something like yours, I would imagine, without knowing anything else from your situation, it was probably something like $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, not much more. And that's just for, like I said, a small mistake on a year. Generally, also, we see a lot of people who have failed to file several years of back taxes, and that's created a liability. So it's kind of all over the place, but they all have that one thing in common where someone just forgot to do something, or they used an online service that wasn't that thorough. You can get your taxes filed online with dozens. I won't even mention any of the big ones. And they're not that thorough. It's really simple. They're very attractive because it's like $49.99. Some of them will offer to do it for free, and they will actually file the taxes. They will generally result in an error that creates a liability. And so that's what a lot of people end up looking at.
Yeah, that threw me off these recent years of, the TurboTax and everything where, you can pay an extra $100 to get the services like a guarantee on it. And I'm like, isn't that what I'm paying for here? So no,
Right.
I feel that for sure. So that's interesting. So 10 grand and up typically are the customers, and business owners. That's actually one coming into this I hadn't considered really, where you can really rack up some debts if you are filing your business taxes incorrectly. So that can get really scary. That letter from the IRS for $1,000 versus $400,000, big difference there for sure. What is your spread of kind of typical consumer versus like someone in like a business position getting help with their business?
Well, we're about 50% individuals and 50% businesses. And as you've astutely said, most business owners have filing requirements, unlike individuals. If you're a W-2 and you just get a salary, you set a certain withholding at the beginning of your employment and your employer pays your taxes, et cetera, et cetera. If you're a business owner, you have a requirement that most often is 4 times a year. You have to set aside quarterly business taxes and pay those to the federal government and the state, wherever state your business is located in. And a lot of business owners, especially in the last couple of years with all the craziness that's been happening, they got a lot going on, right? Most business owners are just trying to survive. And so setting aside money for taxes, let alone even understanding what your liability is going to be, kind of goes by the wayside. And then you'll get a letter, and that letter might be for a pretty large amount, especially if you're doing, even modest revenues of just $100,000 or $200,000 a year. You can have business tax liabilities in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range. And so we see a fairly even spread of 50-50.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. What does customer acquisition look like for Alleviate Tax, George? I mean, the reason I'm asking, and the reason I think people watching this might be interested, is so much of the future with, marketing costs increasing dramatically all over the place is referrals. You want your customers to become your advocates. That's a lot of what we're trying to produce on bestcompany.com. But in this space where, gosh, hopefully I'm not, saying anything wrong, but sometimes you might go to a group like Alleviate Tax with your tail between your legs a little, right? Like you're not really going to go broadcast, hey, I had all this debt that got, that I got help with. Are you able to get referrals? What does your customer acquisition process look like?
It's funny. We get a lot of referrals all the time from clients that were very happy with our services, that we have quickly and efficiently filed their back taxes and got kind of a resolution down with regards to the balance. In general, though, it's referrals are not a big part of our marketing portfolio, because when you owe taxes, as you said, you're generally not talking to people about it. Most people keep that stuff very tightly lipped. Almost everybody will talk about like credit card debt, maybe student loan debt. It's less taboo, but owing money to the government for whatever reason, people don't like to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, so you get some referrals. What are some other ways that you are acquiring customers? I mean, are you doing the Google PPC game? Like, what do you guys do typically to acquire customers?
That would, digital is probably the majority of our strategy. Google PPC, affiliate marketers.
Sure.
So it's a very competitive space. And it's difficult. It's definitely, we're going up against significantly bigger companies with deeper pockets, more money, and some lesser known companies that are just trying to get any and all clients through the door that they can. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You could have some groups that are really willing to spend a lot of money driving up the costs on Google, and it's tough to compete there. And then it's really one too that has very clear keywords that you can, bid on with Google. So I'm sure that also makes it fairly competitive. What does, the goal obviously is to help these people settle any issues, any debt. So probably not a lot of, hopefully you'd like to not have too many recurring customers, right? You'd want them to kind of refer their friends and bring on new customers there. What about, you mentioned that you are also first and foremost just a, you're doing people's taxes rather than just, tax relief and things. You're filing taxes. You are a tax firm for you first and foremost, right?
So we're doing anywhere between 150 and 200 tax filings per week. Those are individual years.
Wow.
That is our bread and butter. Whenever someone comes with a tax bill, the first step is to get them compliant if they're not compliant. And what compliance looks like to the IRS is all years fully filed. A lot of people have just forgotten to file years for several reasons. Some people file late. A lot of people just don't file at all, more than you would think. And it's not a good thing. You rack up a lot of interest and penalties, and if there is a balance, it's going to get bigger. So that's our first step. We have licensed tax preparers. They are CTECs. They have PTINs. This is what they do all day, every day. They just file years. Yeah.
What has Alleviate Tax done over the years in a very competitive space? You said it. I mean, it's what has Alleviate Tax done to kind of differentiate itself? You guys do a great job. Just want to shout out George and their team at Alleviate Tax done a great job, especially on bestcompany.com. Great customer reviews. They've really built an exceptional brand in a tough category, in a tough space. There's a lot of, we've even dealt with companies that just aren't it's clear why they aren't getting positive reviews, for instance. So what have you guys done to kind of position yourselves apart from the competition? How have you built your business? How have you built your reputation?
So the first thing is, we've always had a full money back guarantee. And it's not that we like giving money back. It's just that if it's the right thing to do and we have not performed up to the standards that the customer was expecting, that's something that we've always stood by, which is something good. A customer can go into it knowing that if we drop the ball, we'll be the first ones to say it. We don't do that often, but we do offer a full money back guarantee. The second thing is we have a team, and each case is assigned a whole team. You get a customer service representative that's a case manager. That's basically your point person at every point in the case. You get a dedicated tax preparer. It may or may not be a CPA, depending on the complexity of the case, because you don't need to be a CPA to file taxes. But we have those on the team ready to go by above and beyond for some of those more complex cases. And a lot of the business ones are. And that person will ascertain the compliance aspect of it and make sure that the taxes are filed properly. And then depending on, again, the complexity, we have enrolled agents, we have attorneys that will actually take point on the case depending on the level that it needs to go to from that point. The dedicated case manager will hold our customer's hand all the way until everything is done. And unfortunately with the IRS, it just is what it is. Some of this takes a long time. A lot of people in general, and this is probably not a direct answer to your question, but we just kind of naturally went into this.
Yeah.
The IRS just is very slow, very archaic. They're using technology from the late 90s. If you Google it right now, you'll see, they're incredibly understaffed. I think they're dropping something like 17,000 calls a minute. The last time I checked that number. Yeah. And so, everything with the IRS just takes longer. It is what it is. And so, time is a big factor to a lot of our customers. And we're just there to let them know, hey, we're working on it. We're always answering the phones, even if we don't have an update, because unfortunately, we are limited by what the IRS is able to provide for us. But you can always get someone to pick up the phone, which goes with our team mentality. And I think those are the two things that we do differently. We have a money back guarantee, and we're promising you a whole team is going to be on your case. Regardless of how long it's going to take, we're going to get it done and let you know every step of the way where we are.
Yeah. No, that's great. The money back guarantee is always a part of a solid offer, just to to make sure that people, I mean, it becomes a no-brainer. Like if I have, 5 back taxes, I need help. This group has offered this, a guarantee to me, and that makes a lot of sense. I'd also like to highlight, George and their team has done a great job. Their website they're utilizing a number of badges from Best Company. Obviously, getting those solid reviews has allowed them to earn that we call it social proof, and they get that in front of their customers. You think about, no matter the industry, solar, pest control, tax relief, whatever it is, there's a customer journey, a point of contact. Sometimes whatever you book, you read, takes 7 interactions with a brand before actually reaching out to them. And every step of that process, you can have social proof. You can add reviews, video testimonials. Badges are something in the B2B software space is really prominent, and it's getting more and more into the consumer space. You may see, occasional local newspapers and things like awarding companies. A lot of those are pay to play. So I think it's really cool that you guys have utilized Best Companies, which is not pay to play. You have to earn them with reviews and things like that. So really impressed with that. Have you, whether it's Best Company or any other social proof that you guys have gathered, whether it's Google reviews or anywhere else, has that helped you? I guess kind of a two-part question. What objections do you ever see? Obviously, you have a great offer, guarantee, things like that. Do you ever see objections, and have you used your social proof to help kind of with some of those objections? Maybe just walk us through some of that.
Best Company has been probably one of our best sources of overcoming objections because, as you've said, it's not pay to play, as many of the other big names are. I won't mention any of those names now, but you know who I'm talking about. And it creates kind of a real unfair playing field when I could go out and pay for reviews and basically get ranked towards the top, but we don't. And I think with our Best Company reviews, you could see they're really genuine, as opposed to, not to knock Google, because we try to get those reviews too, but, it could be a quick, great company, give them a call. That's not really talking about your journey, whereas most, if not all, of the Best Company ones are pretty specific. They mention names of agents and case managers. They mention outcomes, which really allows us to position ourselves in front of the client as a legitimate company, because the number one objection is, I don't know you, and this is really, really difficult. And there's so many companies, and so Best Company helps big time.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, I just took a peek at your profile right now. I mean, 152 reviews, great sweet spot, especially for your size company to be at 4.9 average. I mean, that's killer content. And yeah, I've heard this kind of recurring, that Google reviews definitely should be a part of what we'd call your reputation stack, right? You want multiple sources. But Best Company really helps you with that kind of longer customer journey. I wouldn't hear anyone over the phone saying, yeah, don't take our word for it. Like, go check our Google My Business. It's like you can have a friends and family event and you've got 100 reviews overnight there. Best Company verifies that it's all real customers and things like that. And that's something that we've talked with, a Rock Financial, a couple different financial groups, solar, pest control. And it's kind of the same thing, especially these sales-led organizations where, hey, don't take our word for it. Go check us out on bestcompany.com. It's been really useful. So that's great. It's great to hear that you are, that you're doing that. Would you say that's kind of one of the main objections, is just trusting your business practices, trusting, you search tax relief on Google, you're going to get, right, like you said, 3 or 4 ads, then everyone else that's paid tons of money to get SEO optimized. So it's like, what is that typically the objection? Like, I got lots of options, who do I go with, or what would you say are some objections?
I would say, you basically hit the nail on the head. Google reviews are, again, not to knock Google, they're very easy to get. You can get 20 Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews that are very shallow and don't really say much about the process. You could also get bad ones too. So the bottom line, a platform like Best Company really allows the customer to be vocal and allow us to engage with our new customers as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, George, what, kind of some parting thoughts here. The conversation's been great. The industry's very interesting. we've got a number of professionals watching this, looking to learn from people in other industries and things. What are some things you've learned along the way? You're a CEO. You manage a number of people. You're worried about. I mean, I don't have enough fingers. Reputation. The pipeline of new opportunities coming in, and you're dealing with like people's life challenges, right? I mean, it's not just you're not selling widgets. You're selling like in a lot of ways, these things to help people in their life. What have been some, one or two things that you've really learned along the way that you feel like that could benefit some other professionals out there?
The first is take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay.
Breathe. Yeah.
Just take a deep breath. You cannot overcome obstacles and problems if you're not breathing, literally. And the second thing is, something I've learned in my professional career in general, something that we try to utilize here at Alleviate Tax, and I think we do a pretty good job of it, is listen more, talk less. Just listen more, talk less. With any of our prospective customers, they have a lot of problems. And talking at them is not going to solve those problems. So listen more and talk less. You'd be surprised how many problems you can solve when you take that approach. Yeah,
no, that's great. I think, and not to bring up Best Company. I think it's okay. This is the Best Company podcast. But yeah, we're trying to give a platform for customers to talk, right? I mean, right. More than just a shallow Google review. We love when reviews mention people by name. I worked with, this person, and this was my experience, and, review a company on a number of different categories rather than just like the 0 to 5 stars, right? So I think that's great. And then breathing, huge. I think everyone, especially leaving a pandemic and, going back to we're getting back to that normal, and it's like, okay, lots of stresses, lots of anxiety. So yeah, breathe is also great. Well, George, it's been great learning about Alleviate Tax. Obviously you've built a successful, business. Hopefully, you're seeing growth, and you've kind of built. Love hearing about your reputation stack, those Google reviews, what you're doing with Best Company, how you are overcoming those objections, how you're working with people, presenting your business, positioning your business in the right way against the competition. I feel like I've learned a lot, and hopefully our listeners have done the same. So we appreciate you being on here, and hopefully we'll potentially be able to do something else like this very soon.
I really, really appreciate you having me. I have benefited tremendously from this relationship with Best Company. You're good people, and I wish everyone who's watching best of luck.
Great. All right, George. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.